In this tutorial, we're going to look at the main ways that you can record an output from ProPresenter. We'll accomplish this by using either an NDI or a siphon output to send content from ProPresenter to some free recording apps that you can find linked in the tutorial description. We're going to set up a siphon output first because it's the fastest, most reliable, and least processor intensive way to do this. However, siphon only works on the Mac platform. If you're on a PC or if you want to record ProPresenter's output to another computer on the same network, you're going to need to use NDI. Now, to set up our recording, we have to decide what screen is being recorded. So let's go to Screens and Configure Screens. If we wanted to record our exact same main output that, let's say, is going to our projector normally, we could change this from single to mirror. And then we would select our second copy and we would change this to either a siphon or NDI output that we could then record. However, instead of recording the exact same thing as our main output, I want to have a little better control of what's being recorded. So I'm going to set up an additional audience screen. I'm going to set this to a new siphon screen, and we're going to set this to 1920 by 1080. Now this screen I'm going to rename and we're going to call this recording, and now we can customize exactly what content is being recorded versus what content's being shown on our main screen. And we do that by closing this out and going to Screens and Edit Looks. Here you'll see all of the layers we have on our recording screen. Now, for my recording purposes, I only want to see maybe a lower thirds version of the lyrics that I could use in post-production. So I'm going to turn off all of the layers except for our slide layer. And then for our slide layer, I'm going to set a custom theme so it's always a lower third. So I'll click here to set a custom theme, and then I created a lower third theme set, and I'm going to select this standard one that I created here with all of my text at the bottom of the screen. So now if we look at our main output, it's going to look like this, and our recording screen is going to look like this. And even if I start a background up on our recording screen, you're only going to see the bottom text, where our main output is going to see everything. And this is where the power of having that second screen enabled really comes into play. So again, let's go back and preview our recording screen and let's click on some text, and now let's record this. So I'm going to open up the siphon recorder, and now you'll see an exact copy of what our recording output is. You can switch between any siphon outputs that you have here. If you click snapshot, it's just going to take a photo snapshot of the exact moment in time when you clicked the button, or we can start a recording. But before I start it, I actually want to get rid of this black background, so I'm recording an alpha background so that I can use this text over top of video in post. The way we do that is by going to Siphon Recorder and hitting Preferences. Here we can change our video compressor. Currently it's set to photo JPEG, but we want to choose one of our alpha options. You'll see a couple HAP options down here that have alpha, but the main option that you'll probably want to choose is Apple ProRes 4444. So once I select that, you'll see my background disappears and I can now record alpha, and this is showing the text in a background just like the recording will be. You also have an option to record audio, and you can set where the file is actually recorded to. So now let's see this in action. So if I pull this window down, you can see as I switch slides, we get our nice fade between them, and all we have to simply hit is record to start recording our output of ProPresenter. Now if you're on a PC and you need to use NDI to record, you would go to Screens, Configure Screens, and now we're going to just change our recording output from being a siphon output to an NDI output. Here you have options for different frame sizes and frame rates. The most common ones would be 1080i 5994 or 720p 5994. I'm going to select one of these, and then you'll see an option show up for alpha key because it's not enabled by default for NDI. So if you want that alpha background, you need to select the alpha key and hit enable. Then we could close this out, and then we can open up the NDI Video Monitor app here, which has a record button in the corner, and you can go to File to choose your NDI source. You can also record NDI using programs like Wirecast or getting plugins for OBS or Adobe CC.